Intel's latest 11th generation Rocketlake desktop CPUs have been quite negatively received by the tech press, PC gamers, and hardware enthusiasts. However, there is one CPU out of the pack that is actually worth buying. Let's discuss that in this video. Hey, if you enjoy content like this, drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and smash that bell so you never miss another video. Hey, what is going on guys? Danny here, welcome back to the channel and I hope you've all been doing well. Intel's latest 11th gen CPUs had officially hit store shelves recently and reviews were released showcasing their performance. Though I'm sure you guys had all been following the fiasco surrounding these new chips since last month, many retailers around the world had already started selling the chips well before the NDA lifted, and this allowed some reviewers to post their results early. Along with that, once everyone saw the performance of the 11900K and 11700K, we all realized just how badly Intel had messed up here. The 11900K is basically DOA, and the 11700K could have been a competitive chip, but it's just too pricey and power hungry. Though I already went over this in more detail in a previous video, so we're not going to go through all of that again, but if you are interested, link to that video will be down below in the video description. What we're here to talk about is the one CPU from the lineup that's actually worth buying because of the great value it offers. That chip is the i5-11400F, and this chip right here is the new budget champion. It offers some really good value, and I can easily see it being the go-to for many budget builders. If you're someone who's trying to build a solid gaming system, and you might be doing a little bit of streaming on the side and some video editing, but nothing at a professional level, then this CPU will be quite sufficient for your needs. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up is because I know how I've expressed my displeasure from what the new Rocketlake series had to offer. However, if there is still a product within that stack that's worth noting, I will bring that to light. I just don't want to say, it's all bad and don't buy it. I'll try to look for ways where it can make up for those shortcomings, and it's particularly why I wanted to make this video to shed some positivity on the series. One of the main reasons why this CPU offers such good value is because it's one of the fastest 6-core CPUs you can buy out of the box, and with some tuning you can pretty much get the 11400F to match an 11600K or even a 5600X, and those CPUs are considerably more expensive, but we'll talk about pricing later on. Now, I don't own an 11400F, so I don't have any of my own testing results to share with you guys. However, there are many reputable review sites out there that do a good job at testing various scenarios and applications. I like websites like Tech Power Up as they provide lots of benchmarks, it's easy to follow, and they include a wide variety of hardware so you can see how that specific hardware performs relative to something else that's currently available or from a previous generation. In rendering programs like Blender, for example, this CPU does fall quite short compared to other 6-core CPUs like the 5600X or even the Ryzen 5 3600, which for the last couple of years has been the go-to budget CPU for gamers. However, as you can see, once they've removed the power limit and tuned the memory, you can really push the CPU and get it within margin of the 5600X. In Microsoft's Visual Studio C++, you can see the same story where it does fall behind CPUs like the 3600, but again, with some tuning, you can improve that performance quite a bit. So in terms of productivity, it still looks like AMD still has the upper hand here, but the 11400F still offers very good performance and isn't too far behind. When it comes to gaming performance, this is where the 11400F begins to shine, where out of the box it already offers some impressive gaming performance where most would already be satisfied with it. In games like Red Dead Redemption 2, it seems to be outperforming the Ryzen 5 5600X. In Far Cry 5 at stock, it's slower than a Ryzen 5 5600X, but when tuned starts to match it. Battlefield 5 shows us it offers some very impressive performance out of the box, outperforming the 3600 by a significant margin, and when tuned, sits right up there with some of the fastest gaming processors on the market. So overall, the performance seen here is quite excellent. It's pretty much within margin of Intel's own 11600K, and if you're willing to tune it, you'll get it close to a stock 5600X performance, which is already quite fast. The majority of gamers really shouldn't have anything to complain about at this level. If you're interested in purchasing an Intel Core i5-11400F, it currently retails on Amazon for about $175, which is very close to MSRP. Compared to the 11600K, there is a difference of around $45, and if you were to ask me, I don't think it's really worth paying the extra cost for it, since it wasn't meaningfully faster than the 11400F. I would suggest the money you're saving can be put towards a better cooler or memory. Speaking of memory, you can also pair the 11400F with a B560 motherboard. Now, these B560 motherboards don't allow for CPU overclocking, but that's alright since the 11400F doesn't even have an unlocked multiplier. But now what Intel finally allows on their cheaper chipset boards is that they support memory overclocking. I'm kind of surprised that it took them this long to enable a feature that AMD had already offered for years on their cheaper chipsets, but hey, better late than never, right? So you can choose to pair that 11400F with a good, fast, low latency memory memory kit, and you'll allow it to really stretch its legs. Also, B560 motherboards are just as cheap as AMD's B550 motherboards, and they offer all those same modern gen features like PCIe 4.0, support for Gen 4 NVMe, the newer USB standards, etc. So there's really good value being offered right here, right now. Compared to AMD, Intel is seriously giving them a run for their money in regards to value. The 5600X usually goes for around $300, and sometimes it retails for more than that because of the shortage and the high demand, and the 3600, which we know is slower in gaming, is actually significantly more expensive, retailing at $250. I know that the 3600 in the past has been way cheaper, but focusing on the here and now, I just don't see why anybody would choose a 3600 or 5600X considering how much more expensive they are for not that much more performance. It's unfortunate that AMD is stuck dealing with all these shortages, otherwise it would have been a really interesting battle to see perhaps a $160 Ryzen 5 3600 versus an i5-11400F. That would have definitely made the decision much harder, and at that point I would have said, hey, you're not going to go wrong buying either CPU. But as things stand right now, the 11400F for $175 is offering impeccable value. AMD really needs to come out with a Ryzen 5 5600 non-X CPU for around $200, or if they can't do that, then just, price cut the 5600X, make it a little bit more feasible, because at this point, you can argue that you'll get a CPU that will outperform the 11400F majority of the time, but isn't that much more expensive. But they've only just got the $300 USD 5600X, which in Canada actually sells for considerably more. Putting this all together, let's say somebody got really lucky and managed to snag a 3060 Ti Founders Edition from Best Buy at MSRP, because they seem to be the only ones selling them at MSRP these days. Then for just a little over $1,000, they've got one hell of a gaming build that will run anything they throw at it for 1080p and 1440p gaming. And the 11400F is fast enough that it can pair well with faster GPUs on the market like a 3070 or 3080, and you shouldn't have much to worry about in regards to bottlenecking. Along with that, this is still a very capable 6-core CPU, so they'll be able to do other tasks like productivity, streaming, and content creation. If you're someone who's looking at building a budget gaming rig and you're wondering what CPU can offer you great performance for your dollar, then going with an i5-11400F in today's market just seems like a no-brainer. I hope you guys found this video to be informative and helpful. Let me know your thoughts down below. Check out the video description on ways to support the channel and for my other videos. If you guys are interested in more content like this, then make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.